but people don't understand this. There's a super easy way if you want to get a reservation to any restaurant. And every time I have a new assistant, I train them on this. And I would say on a Friday or Saturday night, I can call in to the top 4 restaurants in any city, and I can get a table in 2, 3, or 4. So when I go to a city, Joel, I just tell my assistant, tell me the top 10 restaurants, look at Eater, look at this, look at the local paper, give me the top 3 or 4, book me a table both nights. I'm in Park City. I want the best restaurant Friday and the second best one Saturday. Get me a table 6. Then I figure out who I'm going to invite because I'm a foodie. And I'm going to give this to you now, Joel, because you will appreciate this. My assistant calls. And if you have an assistant, that is a signal, right? So I say, hey, I'm calling on behalf of my boss, Jason Calacanis. He's in town for a conference with some important clients. Now that's another little tip. Okay, it's clients. They're important clients. And now if you say it's important clients, that means you're going to try to impress them. You're going to order a nice wine. And we're very sorry. We know you're obviously booked. If in any way there's a cancellation, so you are apologetic and you're giving them an out and you're telegraphing to them that I am going to be baller. And then I tell them, look at the wine list, pick 2 of the expensive bottles of wine, $200 bottle of wine, and say, and he's a big fan of this wine. If you had 2 of them, you could put on the side. If something opens up, he would love to have those 2 bottles just on the table ready to go to impress these clients. And again, I apologize profusely. And I know it's ridiculous for this call, but I'm sure you get a cancellation once in a while because somebody can't make it or something, somebody flakes. And they're like, oh, yes, let me have your number. When I tell you this technique works 3 or 4 times, sometimes 4 or 4 at the best restaurants. Because what I just telegraphed to them is $400 in alcohol, 6 people. They know we're going to get a 3rd bottle. We know we're ordering dessert. We're going to get some aperitif or something. And that's the other power move. If they got a dessert wine, you just pick the dessert wine, which is usually $200. And now
it tells them everything they need to know. Yeah.
Everything you need to know.
That's so smart.
It works every time. And that's my gift to everybody in the This Week in Startups audience. Yeah, you have to be able to order $400 of wine to make this plan work. But boy, does it work.
No wonder they don't give me the tables.
What is your technique? How do you get tables when it's hard to get a table? Now that we're not going to, it used to be hard in New York, right? Just last year, it was brutal, I heard, to get a table in New York. Yeah. What's your best techniques?
So I would recommend, I usually go on the weekday nights. I try to sneak in.
Yeah.
However, if you're trying to make an impression, the first time you go, I recommend buying 1 or 2, but usually 2 nice bottles of wine.
Mm.
And they'll mark you down actually as a wine spender. And actually, so the signaling that you gave actually tells them that already. But that's, if you're not using Jason's technique, which is a really good one, then the other thing I would add is when you do go to the restaurant and they don't know you and they didn't mark those things down, or they're not using 7 rooms for that matter, you should buy 1 or 2 nice bottles of wine, and I guarantee you'll get a table pretty much 90% of the time you call next time.
Wow. What other techniques are good? What other techniques are good for being a great customer and getting treated really well? You have any other hacks?
Yeah, I think just obviously calling ahead of time. There really is a certain number of tables, and for the most popular restaurants, especially the smaller ones. So 3 days or more in advance is great. And of course, being as friendly as you can, because these folks that are picking up the phone or emailing, they're getting yelled at all day long.
Right.
They're don't you know who I am?
That's the thing. And this is what I trained my people on. If you are a hotshot, you know what hotshots do? They call in their humble.
That's exactly it.
And I tell my folks, you just, if you're super apologetic and you're a baller, it's like, this person doesn't need to be handled with care, and they're going to be delightful.
And this is the problem that 7 Rooms solves in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Is it's so hard for the person picking up the phone or answering emails to understand who the customer is, because the most humble people are actually probably the most successful people. And so when you call in, we can pull up your profile, or when your assistant calls in, so they know without you even having to tell them.
Mm. Yeah, I love the texting too. Is texting getting popular? Because getting text to me from a restaurant I love or whatever. There was this really interesting product out here where it's a little keypad. I forgot the name of it. You'll certainly know it. And it's only for promotions. You type in your phone number while you're leaving, and the front desk has nothing to do with it. You just type it in. And then I did it at this archery place where I was taking my daughter to this archery place. And then they would just text me every 2 or 3 weeks, hey, if you come in 2 for 1 today or this weekend, whatever. And it was kind of great offers. It wasn't 7 rooms, it was something else. Do you know about these, like the loyalty program things?
Yeah, absolutely.
Which one am I describing?
There's a few that do those. I'm not sure which one, but I'd be curious to find out.
Yeah. What's the best practice in texting people? Because people use it for reservations now. Mm-hmm. You have to give them your phone number to get a reservation. What's the best practice? Should you ask them, would you like promotions, or you just send it to them? And
so definitely opting in, and then, texting or email, best practice, as you would imagine, is just sending them something they actually care about. And I think that that's partly also what we're trying to solve is without the data, you can't possibly know what they would care about. With the data, you can then make those touch points much more meaningful to the guests to get them to come back.